Hello IP4 and welcome to this week's class. I hope everyone is keeping safe and that you're not too bored at home and that you don't miss school too much. Okay, so we're going to continue on with our body, with this chapter all about our body. And we've talked about the different bones that we have, the structure of the bones. We've talked about the different kinds of muscles that we have, and we've talked about the different types of joints that we've had. So today we're going to talk about the importance of bones, muscles, and joints. Why are they so important to our body? Okay, so I'm going to start reading on page 18. So if you can open up, I'm going to read and please follow as I'm reading. Thank you. Okay, so the first one is movement. Okay, the first important reason is movement. Bones, muscles, and joints work together so that we can move. Okay, so actually bones, muscles, and joints, they all work together to help us to move. The joints let our legs, arms, and other parts bend and twist. Okay, so that is the purpose of the joints. The joints let our legs, arms, and other parts bend and twist. Okay. The bones provide the strength for support and protection, while the muscles do the work of moving the bones. Okay, so the bones provide the strength for support. So obviously we stand up. It's our bones that are helping us stand upright. And protection. So as we know, our rib cage is bones, and that protects our lungs and heart. And the muscles do the work of moving the bones. Okay, so the muscles help us move our bones. Okay, so I'm able to do this, move my arms, the bones in my arms, because the muscles are giving me the strength to be able to lift my arms up and down. Okay, so that is the importance of movement. Okay, so that is one of the biggest parts, most important things that we have is movement. Next one, cell production. Okay, cell production. The bone marrow found in bones produce blood cells. Okay, so the bone marrow found in bones produce blood cells. You'll remember that from before when we covered bones. There are 3 kinds of blood cells. Okay, this is important to remember. There are 3 kinds of blood cells. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Okay, platelets. Okay, so that might be a difficult word for you to say, so we can practice saying it 3 times. Platelets, platelets. Okay, 3 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Platelets, platelets, platelets. Okay, all right, I hope you're able to say them correctly. Okay, so what do the different blood cells do? Okay, so the first one is the white blood cell. And this defends the body against infections and diseases. Okay, so the white blood cell defends the body against infections and diseases. Then we have platelets. And these help clot blood to stop bleeding. So the platelets, if you ever cut yourself, you see that the blood starts coming out, you start bleeding. Well, the platelets are designed to clot the blood, and clot the blood means make it hard so that you stop bleeding, so that all the blood does not come out. Okay, because you don't want to bleed to death. So the platelets, their job is to go to the area where you have been cut, and if they can, if it's small enough, they will be able to clot the blood, make it hard so that it stops coming out. Okay, and then it can renew, get fresh, healthy blood flowing where it needs to go. And then finally, the red blood cells, and they carry oxygen from the lungs to all other parts of the body. Okay, so the red blood cells are very, very important because they carry the oxygen. After you breathe in, You breathe in, your lungs fill with oxygen, with air, and then all the blood cells need to travel through all of your body. So the oxygen needs to travel through all of your body. So the red blood cells help carry the oxygen throughout all of your body. Okay? So they are really, really important. You'll notice that today I don't have any questions for you here, because we will cover questions later on at the end of this chapter. So I didn't give you any questions to do today, but these are still really important to remember, okay? So the second important thing for bones, muscles, and joints is cell production, okay, which is created in bone marrow. And we have 3 different types of blood cells, and they are the red blood cells, which carry oxygen, the white blood cells, which defend us against infections and disease, and the platelets, which clot blood to stop us from bleeding. Okay, so really important to remember those 3 different types of blood cells. Okay. And the third important thing is protection. Okay, protection. So let's see. I'm on page 19 now, okay? So please follow page 19. Bones are hard. They support us so we can stand. They protect our soft parts inside. So the soft parts inside are our internal organs, and provide a form to our body. Okay, so that's our skeleton. The form to our body is the skeleton. So they provide us to be able to stand up straight, have arms where they're supposed to be, have our legs where they're supposed to be, and our head where it's supposed to be. So our bones help us to do that, okay? The skull protects the brain, okay? So the skull is bone, and that is there to protect our brain. And the ribs and sternum protect our heart and lungs. So like we said before, your ribs are here. They're there to protect your lungs and your heart, okay? That is the role of the rib cage, okay? So really, really important. So our bones are extremely important when it comes to protecting our internal organs, our heart, our lungs, which are protected by the rib cage, but also your kidneys and your liver, your stomach, all very, very important. They're all protected somewhat through bones, okay? Okay, and then the fourth important one is mineral reserve. Okay, so minerals, the different minerals that our body needs to be healthy. Calcium is stored in bones. This mineral is needed by the body's muscles to contract. So that means to move, okay? So to contract. So your muscles, if your arm is straight, okay, your muscles are straight. But then if you bend, your muscles get bigger. So that is what contract means, okay? So if you look straight and then big, okay? I know my muscles are not very big, but you can see if you do this yourself, you can see that your muscle contracts, it gets bigger, okay? So, and that gives us our strength, okay? So that's why it's very, very important. And it also enables our blood to clot, okay? And again, clotting is very, very important. But if your blood clots too much, it's very dangerous. But if it clots when it needs to clot, remember that means get hard to stop you from bleeding. That's really, really important, okay? So there's 3 different minerals. The first is the calcium, which is stored in our bones. The next is the minerals needed in our muscles to help them contract. And finally then our blood cells, it helps the minerals that are needed in our blood cells and our platelets to clot, okay? Okay, so let's talk about taking care of our bones, muscles, and joints. Without our bones, muscles, and joints, we will not be able to move. So make sure you take care of them. Here are some tips. Number 1, always wear the proper protective equipment. Protect the skull and our brain inside by wearing a helmet for bike riding. So if you're cycling your bike, make sure that you always have a helmet on in case you fall off, bang your head, you're not protecting your brain, okay? So if you have a helmet on, it will protect your brain from getting damaged. When you use a skateboard, be sure to add wrist supports, okay? So make sure if you're skateboarding or rollerblading or roller skating, make sure that you have wrist pads on and a helmet in case you fall, okay? This will protect your hands and head. So when you use a skateboard, be sure to add wrist supports, elbow pads, okay, for your elbows, and knee pads, okay? So you're going to have 4 different things. You're going to wear 4 different things to protect your body, your bones, muscles, and joints. First one is the helmet. That is there to protect your brain. Then a wristband, okay, wrist support. That's to protect your hands. Elbow pads to protect your elbows. And finally, knee pads, okay, on your knees to protect your knees. All very, very important. Okay, number 2, drink milk and eat other dairy products. Okay, so we've learned this many, many times. You're in IP4 now. You've been talking about how important milk and dairy products are since IP1, so you should know this. So low-fat cheese or frozen yogurt contains calcium, which helps bones harden and become strong. So milk is included in that. So the calcium, which we all know is very good for our bones, it makes them stronger and harder. Okay, so not just stronger, but harder. Okay, and the harder your bones are, the stronger you are. Okay, and then finally, be active. Okay, be active. So to strengthen our bones and muscles, exercises like running, jumping, dancing, and playing sports are also necessary. So we've learned about how important being active and doing exercise is for our bodies for a long, long time too. But they're very, very good for our bones, our muscles, and our joints. Okay? All right. So I have not given you any questions this week at the side of the PowerPoint because you need to complete the exercises at the end of the chapter. So the first one is on page 21. So I'm going to go through this. I mightn't go through all the answers, but I'm going to go through this for you. So number 1, label the following diagram. Okay, so you can look back. If you're not sure, you can look back at your book or in your copybook because you've already answered these. You've already drawn the diagram and put the correct terms in the correct places. So the first one, the periosteum. So if you want to do this now, you can do this now if you have a pen, pencil on you very, very quickly. So I'll give you 5 seconds to write in the correct answer for each of these. So the first one, periosteum. Do you know where the periosteum is? Write it into the correct box. Periosteum. Okay, second one, bone marrow. Bone marrow. Write it into the correct box. You have 5 seconds. Okay, the next one is cancellous bone. Cancellous bone. Write it into the correct box. Okay, and the last one is compact bone. Compact bone. Okay, so write it into the correct box. Okay, so if you didn't get them yet, that's okay. You can go back and finish after the video, okay? So if you didn't get to answer it yet, that's no problem. The next one, name the 3 different types of muscles in our body, okay? The 3 different types of muscles in our body. So if you go back to the page with muscles, this one here, our muscles, you will see that there are 3 different types of muscles. These are the 3 different types here. So I'm going to tell you because it's very obvious. So the first one is smooth muscle. The second one is cardiac muscle. And the third one is skeletal muscle. Okay, so you need to write the 3 of them in here under question number 2. I'll give you 20 seconds to write them in, and then I'm going to the next question. Okay, now question number 3. Name the 3 different types of joints in our body. Okay, so we need to go to the page on joints and see, can we find the 3 different types of joints? So 3 different types of joints. The first one is immovable joint. Immovable joint. The second one is hinged joint. Hinged joint. And the third one is the ball and socket. Okay, ball and socket joint. So you need to write the 3 of them into number 3 down here. Question number 3 down here. I'll give you 20 seconds again. Okay, so going to continue on. So this one I'm not going to help you with. This is up to you to do yourself. You need to, in question number 4, you need to read the sentence and decide if it's correct or wrong. If it's correct, you put a tick. If it's wrong, you put an X, okay? So very, very easy. You just need to read them yourself and answer them correctly. And then finally, you need to do the Dear Diary, which is list ways to care for our muscles, bones, and joints. There are lots of different ways. We just talked about them today that you can care for your muscles, bones, and joints. So I want you to please make sure that you put in at least one example each for muscles, bones, and joints. Okay, you need to write at least one example for each muscles, bones, and joints. Okay, so please make sure if you did not complete page 21 that you go back and finish it at the end of this video, and then also complete page 22 for homework. Okay, so pretty easy homework this week, not much to do, shouldn't take you long, especially if you're half finished already. Okay, that's all for this week. Thank you very much and see you again next week. Bye bye.